Hi, it's Paris from Epic Reviews, and I saw my brother's video making fun of all the craziness that may happen December 21st on 2012, and so what he said he would do the night before. He's being funny, of course. But it made me think about, I'd like to present my point of view on things and explain things just a little bit. Maybe you'll feel a little bit better tonight going to sleep. To sort of illustrate that point, I've been here at my desk working on Christmas cards, so I wouldn't be spending my time writing Christmas cards if I didn't think we're going to make it to Christmas. So that lets you know what my point of view of 2012 is. I did want to explain a little bit about it, about how maybe it's been misinterpreted, and how if you want to look for a mystical explanation and a mystical time frame to put the Mayan calendar into, one that I like to think could maybe be how it's going to be, and maybe you'd like to think that way too. Or you can go get the Twinkies and do the crazy stuff like my brother. I'll put a link to his video here. It's funny, but a little gross at parts, so I'll just put that warning in there. Okay, well, the Mayan calendar, I don't know if you've seen any PBS shows explaining it all in detail, but pretty much they have different time periods that they use to measure different events. And the one right below the one that everyone talks about, the long calendar, is one that's 52 years, which is about a lifetime. And so if you have to, it's sort of like the difference between inches and feet. The Mayans would use a different part of the calendar to express a different length of time. So if you were talking about something that would take 2 or 3 lifetimes, you would use that particular unit of measurement. If you were talking about something that took a few months, you would use a different measurement. And if you're talking about something that took a really long period of time, that's when they would use that long calendar. And that's the one that has some people upset, because the starting date is actually a mystical point back in time that I don't know how they came up with that number, honestly. But it happens that that long calendar cycle, that cycle comes to an end December 21st, 2012, according to our calendar. So that's what has people in the uproar that, oh my gosh, it's the end of the Mayan calendar. But it's not. It's the end of that particular time period, just like the 52 years that they use. I don't know what they called it, but that would measure an approximate average human lifespan. Well, it didn't mean everybody's going to die at the end of the 52 years. It meant that was about one lifetime. And so for this to happen, or maybe in the past when some major event happened in their culture, it was 3 lifetimes ago, 4 lifetimes ago. So for the larger scale things, probably for some of their spiritual and religious beliefs, that needed a long time period to make sense, they used this long calendar. And so the first period of the long calendar ends tomorrow. But just like with our calendar, just because it ends December 31st, you don't say, oh my gosh, that's the last day there is. You go buy a new calendar. And so the Mayan long calendar, the next period starts immediately after. As soon as the first period's done, then the next period of the same length continues. And they actually even have had a period that engulfs several of those long calendar periods. That one is slated to come to an end October 13th, 4772. So why would they have that other time frame and have things going until the year 4700 if it was all going to end in 2012? So some of the silliness of it. Now, for how you might want to interpret it, and there could be something to be said for it is the end of a period, just like we have the end of the millennium, and you know, there was all kind of crazy back then too. You think of it just like at every new year. The year ends, and so you reflect, most people, if you're not drunk, New Year's Eve, you think about, well, what did I really do in that year? The good things, the bad things, things that were sad, things that were really happy and gave meaning to your life, and what you want to do in the next year or years. It sort of gives you that energy. I'm gonna learn from what happened this year and apply it to next year, and hopefully, if you're a positive person, then you feel like I'm going to have a good year next year and I'm going to accomplish these things, and you make your New Year's resolutions, which is another video that we have that I'll put a link up somewhere if you'd like to see what the top New Year's resolutions are for 2013. Anyway, having that positive aspect and thinking about the new year in a positive way is a good thing. People who tend not to be so positive, maybe they've sort of fixated on the December 21st, 2012. I don't know, I'm not going to psychoanalyze it, I'm just explaining what it is, why I don't think anything terrible is going to happen, but why something good could happen. And those of you closer to my age might remember the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Actually, I'm not quite old enough to have been in that culture, but I really did like the musical. And the age of Aquarius is kind of similar to this, this Mayan long calendar, and in the same general range of being several thousand years in length. So some experts who've measured this think the age of Aquarius began some time ago. Some think it won't be for another century or two. But we're talking about the start of something new in a new era, basically. A new way of thinking, a new way of being for humans on Earth if we choose to do that. And so the age of Aquarius, I just want to let you know here, this is from Wikipedia, what they say that Aquarius is typically associated with electricity, computers, flight, democracy, freedom, humanitarianism, idealists, modernization, astrology, nervous disorders, rebellion, nonconformity, philanthropy, veracity, perseverance, humanity, and irresolution. Well, like a lot of stuff in astrology, you know, you can find, in the sort of vagueness of it, you can always find something that applies to you, especially if you're one of the signs and these are supposedly your characteristics. But you got to admit that stuff does sound like, you know, it applies to these days. A lot of it does. And amongst some other astrologers, they basically think that this time period is, we're coming up on the end of a period of change where we went out of the age of Pisces, we're coming into the age of Aquarius that's supposed to last about 280 years. And that this new age we're moving into is one of enlightenment, where humankind will finally realize how they're a part of the earth, and we will, you know, become one with the earth. It's the new age interpretation that's very popular. And I kind of like that association. And with things with belief, I think you might as well believe what you like, what you would like things to be, to the extent that you're believing it will affect it or not. You know, at least you can be happy in believing it. And with the really terrible, unimaginably awful tragedies that have happened, you know, a number of them this year, and it just seems like you got the global warming with the storms, and you got some other thing going on with the human psyche that just is getting out of control. It would be nice to imagine that we could wake up tomorrow more enlightened and, you know how to take care of the earth so we don't cause it to destroy us, and to know how to take care of ourselves so we don't end up destroying ourselves directly. That the solution to dealing with danger and fear is to overcome those things, is not to arm everyone and then sit in your bunker waiting. We tried this in the Cold War. Everybody had the ability to blow up all humankind many times over. And we probably came fairly closer than we realized to actually doing it. So that's not the solution. The mutual assured destruction of everybody having the firepower to destroy everybody else, that doesn't work. And so maybe we could be enlightened enough to realize that starting tomorrow. And it may seem a little hokey or 60s-ish or hippie-ish, but I always like the lines in the song about, in the age of Aquarius, that peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars. If you're going to believe something's going to happen, why not believe that that's how the world's going to be starting from tomorrow? Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some more Christmas cards to write.